Before I went to USD, I actually went to Pepperdine University, and I gained my bachelor in theater arts. So tonight, I'm going to tell you about a little project that I did last year that taught me about storytelling. Tonight, we're all storytellers here, and what that little project taught me was that everyone listens to stories differently. Everyone processes information differently. So if one way of telling a story doesn't work for you, think about telling the same story in a different way. So a little bit background, I used to work in the Hong Kong Maritime Museum, and here I was with my friend Brenda there doing some sort of a gallery play, because obviously I want to bring theater into the museum. But essentially we are telling the same stories as the objects in the museums did. It's just a different format. So theater is a great tool for education and information processing, actually. Now, I left the Maritime Museum and I went on to another job in which I met a lot of interesting people. One of them is local multimedia artist, Mr. Him Lo. If that's his name, you'll encounter a lot of names that sounds offensive, but actually not in my presentation, if you say it right. Him and some other artist friends was doing a project at this place, which is To Kwa Wan. In the other presentations, we met a lot of international destinations, but do you know this place, To Kwa Wan? This is the map of Hong Kong, and I'll zoom in a little bit. And that's the harbor in the middle, the peninsula on top, and the top bit of the island on the bottom. Zoom in a little bit more. This is To Kwa Wan right here. And you can recognize the strip of land jutting out to sea. That's the old runway for the old airport Kai Tak. So that is the place. And To Kwa Wan is an older kind of district due for redevelopment soon. So him and his other artistic partners, they were doing a project to engage this older district, sort of to capture the sights and sound of the place before they all disappear, and also to connect with the residents in the district of To Kwa Wan through art. And what they did was even zoom in a little, even more. This is a 13 streets area of To Kwa Wan, and you can see that this area is sort of like a rectangular shape with little streets in between. That was because it used to be a big factory building, this whole block of land. And when the factory got pulled down, it was redeveloped into these little streets. And him and his friends rented a place like right here on Feng Yi Street. And there's a little shop front. It's very small. Let me show you how small it is. Yeah, that's right here. I know the photo is dark. More photos. It's that small. And they rented this place so that they can create art pieces here and give workshops. I'll show you a little bit more about the place with people. That's how crowded it is. That's their weekly gathering. And what they did was to give workshops engaging older, retired craftspeople, just like this seamstress right here. She was a retired factory worker, and nowadays she gives workshops and classes on sewing to young people who go to To Kwa Wan to get to know the place. Through these workshops, to get to know the place better. Besides the sewing lady, the seamstress, there's another artist, Kathy here, doing cyanotype, which is you put solution on the piece of cloth and you expose it to sunlight and it turns blue. You can create patterns by placing different objects on top of the cloth. And sometimes they have handicrafts and markets like that. So that's the way they choose to engage the community because they're visual artists. But as you can see, this is, okay, that's the products that they produce. They produce some products and they sell them. And that's another form of engagement. And this is Pub Tung Hook, which is a weekly gathering. But as you could recall from the pictures previously, that's how big that's how big the shop is. And so each workshop, they could only engage about 10, 15 people at a go. So every afternoon for 3 hours, the only people that's listening to the story of To Kwa Wan would be those dozen of people. And that takes a lot of time, and there are only that few people that get to listen to the stories. So after him and I worked together, he realized that I'm a theater person and has a little bit of experience doing guided tours in museums. So he asked me to create a guided tour for the 13th Streets area. And I said, of course, I jumped to the chance, of course, and I'll supersize that. And I made a play out of that. I call it the Love Lost and Found in To Kwa Wan. So those are my friends who did all of these without pay. And you could see my friend Henry in the middle with the blue folder, and he plays the tour guide. So we started off the tour as if it was a genuine guided tour, and then I positioned my actors to come out from different places, not literally jump out, but they would come out and enter the action. Some would play residents of the To Kwa Wan, some would play, well, lack of a better term, hipsters, going into the old places, collecting memorables and things that they find endearing because of old Hong Kong. And conflicts will occur in the streets of To Kwa Wan. And that's how I tell the story. And every tour we did, we get 20, 25 people, slightly more than a workshop. But we could do a tour twice in an afternoon, and we can repeat the same show. I think we repeated the same show for 4 or 5 times. So it's more than 100 people get to listen to the story of To Kwa Wan. And it is another way of engaging audiences and getting your message out in a different way, because maybe some of these people wouldn't want to make a bag on a Saturday afternoon for 3 hours. They maybe just want to come and join the tour and watch the play for 45 minutes. And they get the same, more or less the same message. So before I leave today, I would like you to think about maybe your next presentation. Maybe you need to sell something next time. Think of your audience. Maybe they process numbers and figures better, but some people may process words better. Some people like spoken words. Some people like written words. So think about your audience before that would be a more effective way of getting your message out. So thank you very much for your patience. Thank you. Have a good evening.